chair of one of our committees.
Okay, I've never done this, and I now don't remember what other people did. But I would like to call the committee to order.
There it is. You did it. Melissa, do you want to do we need to do some kind of role, or maybe at a committee we don't need to?
We don't have to at committee. Let me see if I am.
We know who's present because I see them on screen.
We do. We have Maricela and Diana. Thank you so much. Zan Ojero. Robin Johnson.
Melissa, I was thinking you didn't really need to go through all the names.
Okay, that's fine. We can carry on.
We got two. And guests we appreciate. We're just going to kind of run through our agenda, I think, fairly quickly for our next meeting, which is a couple of weeks out. And we'll keep this, I think, pretty short and sweet, and then we'll email our other executive committee meetings so that they kind of see what's on the agenda. Melissa, do you just want to jump to the list? I have it on my screen. I don't.
Oh, this one. There's our list. Our agenda topics.
Our agenda topics. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the draft agenda topics for the quarterly meeting. I'll pick it up from here just so folks know. We'll do an update. This is not necessarily in the order, the final order for our for our quarterly meeting, but so there may be there will likely be some adjustments, but these are at least the topics we know we'll want to share. So for guests, know that the order might change, and we'll assign timeframes, etc. We'll do kind of a general agency update from me, talk a bit about our strategic plan, talk about our Youth Development Council. There's some things that we want to cover there around training that all councils and commissions and boards were having to do at the end of 2022. Want to talk a bit about meeting and other council expectations and attendance, recruitment. I checked in with the governor's office about kind of a big recruitment push this summer. And then for those who aren't aware, just a reminder, our Youth Development Council also serves as our state advisory group, which is actually a federal designation that this body has because YDD administers federal Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention funds. And so we have this dual function, both as a council, as the governing council for the division, but also as the state advisory group for the federal dollars and federal responsibilities that that the division maintains. So there are several requirements which we won't get into great detail here, but it kind of means that there are about 15 kind of designated slots that must be on the state advisory group. Youth members, those are people under 28 in that role. Law enforcement representatives, which falls into a kind of a broad category, including juvenile justice and judges, if that's if judges, prosecutors. It's just kind of a range of kind of legal and juvenile justice partners, community-based partners, etc. And then I'll do a quick update on some sovereign nations funding discussions that we've been having as in committee. So that's the sort of the topics discussed in the overall agency update. Any questions there? And public will ask you to do questions at the end, just or comments at the very end. Maricela or Diana, not seeing any hands or seeing anything. I'm going to keep moving.
Yeah, no questions right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Maricela. Then we'll move to a state advisory group. Again, I just made reference to that. And our Juvenile Justice Committee update. We're working on if there are any specific items to vote on, but for those who are kind of in the maybe at the county juvenile justice level, or who are maybe representing one of the 9 federally recognized tribes, we will do an update on the juvenile crime prevention plans that we're asking counties and tribes to develop and work on. And so we'll kind of do more of a general update there. I don't think we have a voting item on that, but we'll double check. Then we'll move into, Melissa, if you want to scroll down a little bit, into an update on our youth grants. I imagine potentially some of our guests are interested in this piece. We hope by the date of the quarterly meeting to have actually launched our request for application. That remains, the details remain to be seen, but we'll kind of give a general grants update, talk a bit about the 23-25 request for applications, make a call for reviewers to review those applications. We do have volunteers who review our applications. We have staff sometimes serving in that role, but the staff who are involved with reviews aren't actually grant managers. They're working in other roles and positions typically, or if they are reviewing, they're reviewing applications for grants that they don't manage. So it's a pretty wide-ranging effort, and we always are appreciative of volunteers from communities across the state to help review our applications. Sovereign nation funding, Melissa, I think since that's already a part of my director's update, I don't think we need it in this section. We'll talk about data, and then we'll talk about re-engagement rules. Cord, who serves as our deputy director and also kind of legislative coordinator, policy, guru, will talk about re-engagement rules that we have been developing, and we've already had a first reading of those rules, and I think we'll just provide an update as to where those stand. Re-engagement, just real quickly, has to do with legislation in the Student Success Act to fund programs and services to support young people who need to get reconnected back to education in some way, to earn credits, to get a GED or diploma, and to kind of get back also to on a pathway to career and work, and maybe even post-secondary education. So that's re-engagement. That's kind of the broader youth grants update. Any questions on that section?
Hey, Brian, this is Cord Bucher, YDD. I'll just quickly note that we will ask for a vote on re-engagement rules. So the council had the rules in draft presented the last council meeting. So this will actually be an opportunity for the council to vote to accept the rules, and then they'll be officially adopted. But there have been no changes other than a couple of minor wording clarifications, which we'll talk about prior to the vote.
Great. Thanks, Cord. So Melissa, the adjustments we'll make, I think items 4 and 6, we'll just figure out where exactly those, there's Molly, where those fit, to make sure we're not repeating. Good to know there's a vote there. Hello, Molly. My screen is such that I know you're there. We appreciate your being here. We're just running through the agenda. Just a quick note for you. Probably in court, we may actually move that re-engagement rules up earlier in this agenda so that we can make sure to get that voted on. So we will likely tinker with this to get that vote earlier. Molly, for your information, we've already kind of covered the director's update stuff and the state advisory group juvenile justice committee update happening a little early in the agenda. We're not sure that we have a vote related to any juvenile justice committee or SAG updates. We're checking with Anya. I know the broader juvenile crime prevention planning piece is something we want to make sure that the full council hears kind of where things stand. But the order of some of these items, agenda items, might shift a little bit, Molly. Just FYI. All right, I'm gonna move us back down. Thanks, Melissa. We're gonna kind of keep moving things pretty tightly, and at the same time want to give you some space for inspiration, and so we'll do some kind of grantee presentation or highlight. We have some of our team members actually visiting one of our grantees tomorrow, and are hoping to kind of capture some video. So just know that we're gonna, going forward, try to include a grantee, as I said, presentation or highlight in our meetings. I know that's just makes the meetings that much more meaningful. And So more to come on that, but that'll be a part of the quarterly meeting. Any questions so far?
No questions right now, but that sounds great. I'm excited to hear from some grantees.
Yeah, thanks, Maricela. Yeah, and as we get back in person, we can find ways for this to be, meaningful, and maybe, have grantees, actually come to a meeting, or maybe even a couple, and just ensure again that that's an ongoing part of our meetings. So we'll move to a legislative/policy update. Cord and I will kind of tag team on that. Just some updates on committees that we've been attending and presenting to, and legislation that we're tracking. And other council members have also been engaged as well in in their own ways in legislative work. So we'll certainly have space to have any comments or questions. As I said, the re-engagement rules, second reading will happen. We may again move this section a little earlier so we can make sure we get to that vote in the beginning part, or the beginning half of the meeting. But Cord, anything else to add on that section?
No, I don't think so.
Great. And then we'll move to committee updates. We will have already done the juvenile justice update. You're going to just hear, our equity and disparity committee has been meeting. I know the youth committee is making some connections and contacts with Abraham Magana from our team. So we're kind of getting that back up and going. Things of COVID and just lots of reasons, I think, as we were kind of getting back into the flow of more committee work. So we'll ask for any updates from committees. I'll do a little recap roundup at the end just to make sure any actions or follow-ups are captured by our team, and just again to recap for those who sometimes we've got people who kind of need to come in and out of the meeting. So we'll do a little roundup at the end, and then of course we'll have some time in the actual quarterly meeting for public comment. So that will round out the end of the meeting. Just as a reminder to all those who are on, we will be meeting in person at the Public Service Building. So it's an in-person meeting for the first time in my tenure as director. So we're excited about that. If there are questions about that, please, Molly left and is back. It looks like. Melissa, you'll readmit her. We will appreciate if you have any questions or comments about the in-person part. We will probably, I'll just say this as we're working on the times. I'm guessing we'll have some space for those who can show up on the early end, 8:30, but I'll just put out there for those who are on the call from the council, I anticipate we'll actually start the meeting, probably 9:30-ish, to account for folks who may need to get children or others to school and making the drive from wherever they may be making the drive. So we won't officially kick off, I think, at 8. We'll do our best to, welcome you if you get there on the early side, but you'll see in the meeting invitation that Melissa has created, we've kind of blocked out, I think, like from 8 to 1, or 2, maybe it's even 2 o'clock, Melissa. So that's really to just give you a sense that I think we'll probably start 9:30-ish and go to 1:30. We'll have a little break, and we're looking into trying to have some, I don't know, some refreshments or something. I'm not sure what's allowed just yet, since I haven't done one of these in-person meetings. But we'll at least break a little bit around the noon hour, and hopefully be able to provide a little bit of sustenance, and then look to ending the meeting around 1:30. So you don't see all that reflected on this document because I didn't want to commit totally to that, but I'm going to give you a little heads up that's likely what's going to happen. I see that comment from you, Maricela. Yeah, just to, as we get back into in person, the with little kinks that we're going to want to work out, and think starting up at 8 a.m. as we were able to do online, just that doesn't make sense. I'm already hearing from some people around their own sort of typical morning schedules. So we'll get the actual timing here developed and let you know. But today we just wanted to kind of give you the draft outline of what we want to discuss, get any questions or feedback. And I guess I'll ask again, are there questions or comments from what you've heard so far? Not hearing anything. Not seeing anything in the chat. Might have said, sounds like you appreciate again that sort of not starting too bright and early. And with that, maybe Melissa, do you want to kind of take us to, I'm not hearing anything, but there's the public comment. Well, I can say it. I mean, hey, I see a couple of folks here who are not members of our council, but we would invite you. I think the limit, Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Two
Yep.
or three, go ahead.
3 minutes, thank you.
I
I have reached out in chat to our guests. Thank you so much for joining us. So Teresa Tonini has let me know that she's the grant coordinator with 715. I think that's how you say your organization, Teresa. Correct me if I'm wrong. She doesn't have public comment, but thank you so much for joining us. Matt, if you want to reply in the chat or just let us know what organization you're from and your title, and if you'd like to make any public comment.
think Matt's typing right now, so. Maybe not.
Just keeping an eye on my chat, but I think that's it. I can let you know when I get a response. I messaged Matt directly.
There it is. I see
All right, also with 715. Thank you, and no public comment. Fabulous. Thanks so much for joining us.
Exactly. Well, there you go. That was a quick executive meeting. It's helpful for us to kind of review this list of agenda items. We'll refine it and clean it up and get a more official version out. We'll also, I think, Melissa, it'd be good to even get the draft with a few tweaks out to committee members who weren't able to join today, just to say, hey, here's the draft agenda that we reviewed. And then I don't know, Maricela, we might kick it back to you to close this out. Adjourn.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to join today. And our meeting is adjourned.
Look at that. 30 minutes back.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye all. Thank you.
Bye, Diana.
Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.